What up? What up? Welcome to another episode of the Sportspsp podcast, the highlight of Friday nights. Hope everybody's coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. The last day of July before we approach the first day of August. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Parents out there, make sure you do some early back to school shopping. Um, Back to school, it's almost coming, so you may want to capitalize on that shopping, whether it's clothes, notebooks, binders, pens, papers, whatever the case may be. Capitalize off of it. And shout out to the WNBA, last week's All Star game. Almost 20,000 people at the game at the United
Mhm.
Center in Chicago. Over 3 million ratings. Second most for the WNBA All Star game champ. Even was more than this year's NBA All Star game. So that is huge. Shout out to John Quell Jones for winning All Star MVP. Happy for the WNBA. I know the big fella is extremely happy because of his coverage of the WNBA. And shout out to the Atlanta Dream for that victory last night against the Dallas Star Wings. Man, man, I mean, don't be pretty, be good though. But big fella, there's still some concerns though I have with Atlanta Dream though, which I'm sure you have a lot to say at some point. But of course, BRF unfortunately cannot be here. He's got to take care of some family things. BRF, we love you, man. We'll hold it down for you. But of course, we cannot do the Sports PSP podcast without my main man, all the way down from Columbus, Georgia. He is the five-time college degree champion. He is the military man and veteran. He is the Al Roker journalism. He is the Ahmad Rashad of the WNBA. He is the young Charles Barkley. He is the young Mark Henry. He is Mama Champ's number one favorite son. He is Ace's best sibling. He is D's hysterical and hilarious friend. There's a reason why his pops called him Champ for a reason. His big ass won't be wearing no Andrew Tate outfit anytime soon. That'll never happen. And if he does, he's probably gonna have to wear something else, maybe a Teletubby outfit or a Barney outfit. The one and only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, big fella?
Whew, good God. If you haven't paid attention to that Andrew Tate segment last week, that was by far the funniest shit I have ever. One of my friends actually showed me that. Like, you guys are talking about it. And they had a blast on it. But if you did check out last week's show, check it out. Yeah, none of those knockoff Versace shirts from City Trends and none of those Usher loafers. None of that. So good to be back here on the Sports PSP podcast, man. Shout out to BRF, Flash. Shout out to the Atlanta Dream. Hey, we need a win tonight. Let's make it two in a row. Angel Reese playing some of her best basketball, man. If you really look at that game, she really was the main X factor that put us back in the game. Her and Alicia Gray. So big shout out to Angel Reese and Alicia Gray, regardless of how people may feel about Angel Reese. She's getting better and better. But I will say this: Paige Angel, watch yourself because you almost got caught up. And I'm glad nothing became of that situation where the footage came out where you guys were betting $400 about who was going to win that game. I hope nothing becomes of. I'm glad nothing became of that, and that was not punishable. Dave decided that no punishment was going to be lingered. But look, man, watch yourself.
If
You
you think they're
guys
gonna do
are.
something with the NFL, what do you think they're gonna do with the WNBA?
Look, man, like I said this yesterday in a video of Paige Becker's Angel Reese, be thankful that your boss, that being the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, be thankful that that is your boss and not Roger Goodell or David Stern, because you probably be suspended by now. But yeah, just thank your lucky stars. I will say that. But I'm glad nothing became of it because the championship aspiration of the Dallas Wings and the Atlanta Dream hinge on both of those players. Plus, they're two of the most recognizable players in the W at this point, uh, that being Paige and Angel. But I'm glad nothing became of that. But you guys, watch yourself. Watch what you put on that internet. I know you guys are big on social media. You guys have a social media presence,
Ladies,
especially
ladies.
Angel, like no other. Angel has the most followers in the WNBA. But yeah, you got to be careful, especially with all the brand deals and everything like that. One mistake can cost you, but I'm glad nothing became of that and made it out. But big shout out to the Atlanta Dream, man. A big shout out to Angel Reese. She is, it's she's arguably, people thought that she was going to be a third banana when it came to this Atlanta Dream team. And come to find out, she's one of the best players on the team, and she's been on a tear. I think that Chicago Sky game was, one of those games where she didn't necessarily have a good game. But other than that, these last like 8, 9 games, she's been just on a tear. Her field goal percentages is up, her points are up. Ironically, she's not leading the league in rebounds for the first time in her illustrious career, but that's Jessica Shepard, who is also a candidate for the most improved player of the year this year and all WNBA. But she's progressively getting better and better. I cannot wait to see how she's going to perform against the Twin Towers tonight, that being in the form of the Seattle Storm and her former teammate in the form of Flajay Johnson. And they are playing in Atlanta. So, shout out to College Park, Atlanta, Georgia. Bring it on home tonight, Atlanta Dream. I will be watching.
Yes, absolutely. Before we start off the show, want to give a quick shout out to a couple of people. Shout out to Mama PSP. She was checking out a couple of our clips, champ, last night from the pod. By the way, if you go on TikTok, Sports PSP, the latest video that I posted, the champ with Bijan Robinson and Brian Robinson Jr. already over 5,000. So let's
Wow.
let's keep that up. Let's also keep it up with the Instagram. Let's also keep it up with the YouTube and stuff like that. Hey man, we're doing everything we can. We got to push as much content as possible. And shout out to DRF, shout out to Flash, shout out to Angie, shout out to Mama Champ, although she gets on my nerves from time to time as a Cowboys fan. Shout out to Ace. She's the best sibling for Undisputed World Champ. And of course, the magnificent and beautiful D. Shout out to the beautiful D and Kia as well. But of course, shout
Yeah.
out to the beautiful D, man. D always says her hellos as always, big fella.
Yes, indeed. And make sure y'all go follow Kia. She will get you paid. So you want to get some parlays going. They call her Kia Parlay for a reason. She will get you paid. So go ahead, give her a follow. She knows her stuff, man. Follow the
Mhm.
homie. She knows what she's talking about.
Although D did say she would like to see Champ in an Andrew Tate outfit.
Moving forward. Moving forward. And we're gonna
Oh,
turn
how convenient for me to mention that while you're sipping on
while I'm
some
drinking my
water.
water, while I'm drinking my daily water for the day. So you
Well, I mean, we've done that before. I mean, you had to spit out water when Donald Trump depicted himself as Jesus. I mean,
that was
and
with
plus
the
you
Fauci trials going on right about now.
a- and plus you may spit some more water because Brandon Tatum saying some crazy stuff. I think you heard what he said, Brandon Tatum.
No, I didn't.
What he said about Charlie Kirk about slavery.
Brandon Tatum. Oh, that idiotic ass cop. Oh, fuck him. Give
Officer
me a
Brandon Tatum, the one who
yeah.
actually
No,
agreed with
he
Charlie
is
Kirk,
not.
who said that blacks were better off during slavery.
I don't know what to say about that guy. That guy's a raving lunatic, and I'm just gonna leave it at that because anytime you say, I don't know what to say, man. As a former service member and law enforcement guy, come on, bro. A lot of stuff. Let's just move on. It's weird to me. It's detrimental to be kind. A lot of that language that guy's speaking is detrimental to be kind, and I'm hoping that one day he realizes what he's saying, and it's very very idiotic at best when you perpetuate a lot of, in the great words of the great Jim Cornette, utter buffoonery. So
Or just bullshit, which
yeah,
he spews.
trying to be kind, but it's hard to be kind when you're spewing that type of nonsense. But big shout out to um, Senator, well, excuse me, Congressman Gary Chambers, because he set him straight real quick and did a lot of the other guys. But Gary Chambers definitely one of the more preeminent politicians down there in the state of Louisiana, hoping that he makes a big push to go further his political career. Regardless of me hating politics, I have to pay attention to it. But considering everything that's going on with him, the Nolan Wells case, the Fauci trials, and everything that's going on of that nature, one thing I will say before we get started, big ups to Stephen A. Smith. I'm glad that you took the opportunity, now that the Fauci trials have came out, to apologize to Kyrie Irving. I'm glad that you taking the time to, with now that the Fauci trials have came out and a lot of information has come out. I'm glad that you took the time and the liberty in order to apologize to Kyrie Irving. And I really think a lot of other people during the COVID season who did not want to take that vaccine, I think they're owed an apology. Really are. Because now that everything's coming out the way it is, and now that news is coming out about how a lot of the information was false, a lot of the speculations were false, a lot of the research was false. Now we're starting to see that COVID was really not what we thought it was. It was just one big rigmarole that took us all for a wild ride and it changed our lives forever. But big shout out to Kyrie Irving. Big shout out to the people who stood up for what they believed in. But unfortunately, some of them lost their jobs. But I salute you. You know,
Big fella, if you were talking about just Kyrie Irving himself, that's fine because Kyrie Irving was willing to accept the consequences and he told the truth. If it's Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to hear shit.
well, no, I have to
No,
your
no, no,
point.
no, no, no. The reason why I say that is because there are gonna be some people that are gonna say, "How come Aaron Rodgers isn't owed an apology?" He lied.
Well, he did. He lied, and that's how come I didn't say his name. And I
No,
was hoping.
no. The reason why I said it is because no, this is my pod. I'll say it.
Yeah, I
Look,
know.
Aaron Rodgers. I have no problem with somebody not getting the vaccine. I disagree with people not getting the vaccine. I was for getting the vaccine because I feel like if the vaccine's not the best way to go, then what is? This is I wanted to make sure myself and the rest of my family and loved ones were taken care of. So that's why I chose to get the vaccine. You don't want to get the vaccine, fine. That's your prerogative. You have to follow protocol. You have to follow things like everybody else. As long as you're willing to do that part, that's fine. But don't lie.
No, don't lie. And that's how come I didn't say Aaron Rodgers' name. If
No,
you're going to
I
do
know,
something,
I know you didn't, but idiot. There's dumbasses everywhere on social media. You know that.
yeah, there are, but I pay them. But as I always say, pay them no mind. Um, I didn't say Aaron Rodgers. I really didn't even want to acknowledge it because everybody knows that he lied. I'm talking about the people who didn't take it and stood on it, and
That
come
was
to find out,
Kyrie, and that was also Jalen Brown as well. Which
Jalen Brown,
again,
a lot of different guys, a lot Jalen Brown, a lot of different guys. Guys like me who had people to worry about. I had, my father, a lot of people around, a lot of older people that was around me that, could have gotten affected. And that's who I was afraid for. Had it been just me around and me just walking around by myself, I probably wouldn't have taken it. But, I was more worried about my family and stuff like that. And I didn't want to get sick. And then, because I really didn't care, I get sick, so what? I heal up in like 2 weeks and then we'll be okay. My thing was I was concerned about, there's a lot of older people in my family that I was always around, and I didn't want to get sick and then they pass away. That's why I chose to take it.
and
But
I
I
feel the
didn't have,
same. No, I feel the same way,
yeah,
big fella, because my aunt, rest her soul, decided not to take the vaccine until the last minute, and then unfortunately, when she had COVID,
yeah,
too late.
and
But
it
again,
was disastrous.
like for those, look, just because you didn't want to get the vaccine, I don't believe you should have lost your job or anything like that. I believe, look, there should have been protocol. If you're not gonna get the vaccine, that's fine. But just like everyone else, we got to wear masks. We got to follow protocol. We got to do things because at the end of the day, the one thing that's inevitable is COVID. So we want to make sure that everyone is protected and safe. Kyrie decided to stand on his 2 feet and decided not to get the vaccine. At the time, I disagreed with the decision. Still, I still disagree with people who don't want to get the vaccine, but that's your choice.
Yeah.
I may not agree with it, but I will respect it.
Yeah.
And that's why if people want to criticize us, champ, we ain't having it. We
Yeah.
disagreed with Kyrie not getting the vaccine, but he stand on principles. He's standing on his own 2 feet. He's being a man. Even though I'm glad that Stephen A apologized, champ, unfortunately, it's falling off of deaf ears. And at this point with Stephen A. Smith, that's why I told you, big fella, at this point right now, he's looking more and more like a heel. So,
Yeah.
but after all, he brought that on himself. So,
He did. And like I said, now that like I said, I paid close attention to Fauci trials and everything that's going on. He's pleading the fifth, like what's the guy's name off of the Chappelle show? I've seen all the skits and everything, but now
yeah,
that everything's come out, man, it seems like a lot of the I will always say,
misinformation and
yeah, I would say all the pure bloods. Shout out to all the pure bloods. No pun intended for anything else, but all the pure bloods. Shout out to y'all, man. Y'all stood up on y'all principles. Y'all didn't. Y'all wasn't detoured, and y'all stood on business. So I'm proud of y'all. But as for me, man, it won't be the first time the government stuck a needle in my damn arm and said, "Hey, take my word for it." Remember, I was a service member. So they stick shit in us all the time. They just send you out there and say, "Hey, just take our word for it." But won't be the first time that ever happened. But thank God.
it probably won't be the last
It
either.
probably won't be the last, but probably won't be the last. Like I said, I used to be a service member. So, they'll stick a needle in your arm when you was in the army in a second. Say, hey, this is a hot shot for so and so. What's it for? Just take our word for it. But, hey, look, shout out to all the people who stood on business. Now that everything's coming out, I'm very, very proud to say that whoever stood on business, y'all stood on business and y'all made sure that y'all principles were not jeopardized, man. So now that everything's coming out, it looks like a lot of people who did not, y'all was on the right side of history. And I am privileged to know a lot of people who didn't. A lot of people who advised me not to. A lot of people in my inner circle advised me not to. But like I stated, I wasn't thinking of me at that point. I was thinking about people around me who I didn't want to get infected because during COVID, I really didn't care. I was still out here living reckless anyway. I was still going to parties and shit like that. So I really did not care about what was going on. You wasn't about, yeah, I was that guy. So you was not about to scare the hell out of me into I wasn't gonna live in fear. Like, no.
Well, champ, I feel like the reason why you feel that way, given the fact that you've been to the war, you're in the military, you've seen a lot of shit in your life that you felt like nothing could stop or prevent you. But nah, man, COVID at that time, it was kind of crazy. I mean, hearing like so many people dying and stuff like that. And my mom, during the pandemic, we played no jokes when it came to COVID, especially down in New Jersey. My brother even was forced to take the vaccine and everything because it was very mandatory in the state of New Jersey. He couldn't even go to school or even take online classes unless he was vaccinated.
Damn, you couldn't even take online classes. I ain't even in front of no damn body. What the fuck going on?
But
It's not funny, but you gotta laugh in order to keep the humor up. Damn, but I'm way out here somewhere. Out here, what you gonna get infected through the damn
he
screen?
couldn't. Yeah, but hey, man, but look, I feel like at the end of the day, it's your choice. If you
Yeah,
don't want to take the vaccine, fine, that's up to you. I mean, I'm not going to shame you or cancel culture you or anything like that. But people were willing to deal with the consequences and they lived with the consequences and now they're getting their due. But at the end of the day, man, look, Stephen, but you know what? Let's move on because we've spent
I
so
do
much
got
time.
one question for you. Do you think that Kyrie, when it comes to all these news stations and all these media outlets, do you think that he should? Now that everything's coming out, I have to ask you this question. I
Should he
wouldn't be
get
doing
an
my job.
apology?
Well, not just that. Should he file a defamation of character lawsuit now that everything's coming out at the Fauci trials?
I think other people should file a defamation lawsuit as well.
Okay.
It's not the only one. But but look, my thing is look, if you don't want to get the vaccine, like I said, that's your choice, that's your prerogative. I still feel like do I regret taking the vaccine, champ? No, I do not. Because at that point I wanted to protect myself. when I had COVID, oh man, I was sick, sicker than a dog. I lost like 6 pounds. I was like throwing up, fever, fatigue, nausea, and stuff like that. That's how bad it was with COVID. But
Damn.
no, I mean that's how serious it is, man. But again, if you don't want to take it, that's your choice. That's your prerogative. But let's move on because we got a lot of sports stuff to talk about. Big fella, your former Georgia Bulldog, Jalen Carter, as controversial as he is, got the bag. 4 year, 152 million. Extension could be worth up to $160 million. This is what Drew Rosenhaus and Jason Rosenhaus, his agents, told ESPN's Adam Schefter. The deal includes $106 million guaranteed. The contract is the richest for a defensive tackle in NFL history in both guaranteed money and average annual $38 million. Carter, who is 25 years old, has been selected to each of the past two Pro Bowls. He has 13 and a half sacks, 37 quarterback hits, and 108 tackles in his first 3 seasons. The Eagles did pick up Carter's fifth-year option for the 2027 season earlier this year. With the extension, he will now be under contract through the 2031 season. Now, Carter is coming off some down year, and also there's even a weight clause, I think, in his contract, champ, that up to $250,000 that he can earn up to.
Yeah.
So,
Weight clauses.
yep. But again, it's not a surprise because if you looked at him last year, he didn't look like he was in the best type of shape or conditioning. So it wasn't a surprise to me that they put weight clauses in his contract. Champ, look, I know you are a Georgia Bulldog. You've made it abundantly clear with Jaden Carter, he had to get the hell out of Georgia.
Yes.
Um, Eagles, he fell to the ninth overall pick in the draft. They took him. He helped them win a Super Bowl. He's one of the preeminent defensive tackles in the NFL. I have no problem with him getting the money, despite the risk, though, because again, last year, remember in the season opener, remember what he did to Dak Prescott. Now, in fairness, Dak did kind of instigate it with the spitting, and I said, champ, with that video and the fact that it was the season opener, the very first play on the season opener, he was still going to have a chance to play next week because guess who are they playing next week? The Kansas City Chiefs, who they faced in the Super Bowl. And if they had lost that game with no Jalen Carter, imagine what would have been the narrative. Imagine what the public and the media would have said. So I think he's deserving of the contract. Eagles knew exactly what they were getting themselves into with Jalen Carter. They figured, hey, he's one of the top defensive tackles. We might as well pay him because if he has a monster year, and if we don't pick up his fifth-year option or pay him, then guess what? We're gonna have to pay him even more money. So you were gonna have to take care of him. Um, I just hope for Jalen Carter he doesn't get into any more trouble or situations because he has too much potential and talent. Big fella, your thoughts?
Man, it feels good to see the Great Wall of Georgia that's up in Philadelphia get paid. Because you know Jordan Davis, he got paid earlier this year, back in
No,
March.
we know that,
Yeah,
and he deserving of the money. But
yeah,
the concern was with Jalen Carter. But we knew at some point they were going to have to take care of him
yeah,
because they did. Because imagine if he went elsewhere and
yeah,
performed.
yeah. And he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league right now, if not the best. So have no problem with Jalen Carter getting that money. I thought that they were gonna make it hard for him because of that incident last year. Not to mention he had some character issues going on even before he came into the league. Not to mention, reportedly last year he was out of shape throughout the season, especially at the beginning of the season. So I thought they were going to make it hard for him at first, but come to find out, they made it easy and they got it done. Look, man, they took care of that defense. They took care of that defense, and they took care of the Great Wall, the Wall of Georgia, that being him and Jordan Davis. One thing Howie Roseman is going to do, he's going to take care of his best players. He's going to take care of his best players, and he's been willing and dealing this entire time. I hate they lost Nolan Smith. You know, I hate they lost him, but at the end
Jacoby
of
Dean as well.
Kobe Dean as well. I hate they lost those two guys, but at the end of the day, they're on the better things. They are on the better endeavors. You know, they're talented players within their own right. So I can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do outside of the Philadelphia Eagles' defensive scheme. Big ups to them. But it feels good to see Georgia Bulldogs getting paid, man. Jalen Carter, like I stated, had I believe the main influence on why the Atlanta Falcons did not draft him was the fact that he had to get out of Georgia. A lot of distractions were in Georgia, and I think that if he would have been going from, I think if he would have stayed in Atlanta, if we would have drafted him, he would have got in trouble eventually, and it would have made a turn for the worse. He had to get out of Georgia, and I think Philadelphia, with that structure, that great organization, was the best thing for him. And look, people can say, well, we should have drafted Jalen Carter. I mean, I didn't want. We were in the middle of, and we still are in the middle of a transition at this point. We still don't have a competent quarterback on this team. Hell, if you look at training camp right now, Matt Ryan has came out of his office upstairs, and he's throwing the ball to the receivers out there at camp. Go back and review the footage. He is out. He was out there today, the last couple of days, throwing the balls to receivers.
And not
So
only that, they also brought in Cooper Rush.
yes, they also brought in Cooper Rush, and we have a very, very talented undrafted free agent. I can't pronounce his name right about now, but we have a he's very, very talented. But yeah, that quarterback room is banged up. Gonna be interesting to see what happens. Not to mention, rest in peace to Mrs. Orbrick. You know, Coach Orbrick's spouse recently passed away. Uh, Thoughts and prayers are with the Falcons organization and his family right about now. And man, it's ugly. It's ugly around that Atlanta building, but it's getting bad when the president of football operations, the best quarterback in your organization's history, has to come out of the booth, has to come out of the booth, that being his office, and throw the ball to the receivers at training camp because you have no quarterback out there, and
You think he
there's no
needs to pull a
timeline on when
Philip
they're going to be
Rivers?
back.
Do you think he should pull a Philip Rivers?
No, I don't think so. Plus, I don't think he can. Look, trust me. I looked up the rules today, and no, there's rules against the league saying that's conflict of interest. People
No.
in the front office, they can't come out of the booth, out of the front office and play football. That's conflict of interest. Trust me, I looked it up because I was about to say, hell,
You
if he
looked up
looking
in the rule
healthy,
book?
huh?
Did you look it up in the rule book?
Hell yeah. I was like, shit, I mean, look, if he's healthy, if Matt Ryan was healthy, I say, shit, let his ass come down and play a couple of games. This just the beginning of training camp. He still look like he in shape. And you got all these weapons out here. Let's see what you can do. But the first thing I did when I saw that, I said, let me go to the rule book because if it said anything that I wanted to hear, oh yeah, I was definitely we was about to make a couple videos like, hey, is this Matt Ryan's like redemption season, or hey, is it time to welcome him back or something? Because I was about to have a whole bunch of stuff, but
Well,
especially with
this
this
would have
two
been
back
your
system,
reaction.
yeah, that would have been just my reaction. But fortunately, man, we got to figure out that quarterback position. I think that's the only thing holding us back right about now.
That's
I
what, but
think that's
I told BRF though, and he felt very confident when he drafted Michael Penix Jr. And I'm like, BRF, I understand the talent, but them durability issues.
yeah,
And he mentioned about the offensive line with Atlanta last week, and I said, and the point I forgot to mention to him, yeah, you got that offensive line, but if a QB gets hit one time, it's kind of like with boxing, given their durability history, one punch with Tua and Michael Penix Jr., one hit. And it's looking pretty bad for Atlanta, champ, because again, like you've often said, on paper, based on talent alone, they're loaded. Bijan Robinson, they added Brian Robinson Jr., Zachary Branch. Okay. You have Drake London, a top 10 receiver in the NFL. You have defense, and plus, we keep talking about Jalen Carter and his issues. James Pierce Jr. with them issues that he had in the off season.
yeah,
But
and
to but to me, champ, my thing is with Atlanta, they need they have to figure out something because with the quarterback situation, with those two quarterbacks, I'm sorry. And besides, it's so bad you don't even want to take a shot at Desmond Ritter.
Look, I know we're gonna talk about him later, but if you're getting desperate,
You want
uh,
Shador?
no, if you start getting desperate, there's a quarterback that's unhappy down there in Tampa Bay.
I don't think. Well, I don't think Tampa's
I
gonna
don't
let
think
him
they would
go.
trade him within the division, but hey,
We're gonna
take
talk
a
about
whack at
him,
it.
and
And look, there's a lot of questions about whether this may be Lamar's last year in Baltimore. Hey, I doubt it. I doubt that you trade the best quarterback in your franchise's history. But hey, in the great words of I-20 from Disturbing the Peace, second chance. So Atlanta, you got to do something about that quarterback position, man, because we're not going to win too many games like this. Like I said, with these two quarterbacks, even if they were healthy, I literally said just the other week, I'm running the ball 500 times this year. I'm running the ball 500 times. So get ready, Bijan Robinson, Brian Robinson. Y'all get ready to have your tongue hanging out your mouth because we're going to run the ball. We're going to play Marty ball. God rest his soul. We're going to play Marty Charlie Heimer football. But
just don't run the champ. Don't run him under the ground because once a running back gets a certain amount of carries, that's a point of no return, though.
yeah, but the thing is, hell, like I said, hey, one guy ain't got to get all 500 carries. I get 250 to Bijan, 250 to damn Brian Robinson.
No,
I,
but
I
but uh, no, but I understand that. But at the same time, you also mentioned that Bijan Robinson can make a strong case as an MVP this upcoming season. My thing is, yes, use Bijan, but don't overwork him too much because I would hate to see him waste his prime later down the stretch. I
like
still want
Todd
him to be
Gurley.
right, and
Yeah.
and you're right. And what a travesty that would be. So I don't want that if you're Atlanta. And besides, you're gonna have to make a serious decision with this QB situation. But back to Jalen Carter, because we will discuss this later on for our NFC East predictions. I think you had to take care of that contract.
Mhm.
You didn't pay him. If you don't pay him now, and if he has a big time year, then you're gonna have to pay him even more money. You
Yeah.
have to pay him much more than that 152 million, 106 million guaranteed. I just hope for Jalen Carter's sake he doesn't get in any more trouble. And look, he's had some red flags before he entered the NFL, and he had some red flags during. So I hope for him, Philadelphia, it's his place for a long time. So
Yes,
I'm
indeed.
happy for him. Big ups to him. Now, let's talk about the other guy that you mentioned. My man, my OU brother, Baker Reagan Mayfield. He says he felt disrespected and undervalued. This is what he said regarding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm very, very thankful for the chance the Buccaneers gave me. Do not get me wrong on that. This is what Mayfield said in a news conference on Thursday, July 30th, reading an article from Michael Middlehurst Swartz of USA Today on Yahoo Sports. I'm very, very thankful for the chance the Buccaneers gave me. Do not get me wrong on that, but I also know what I brought to this franchise leadership wise and play wise. It's been the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upward. So it's disappointing in that regard to feel disrespected a little bit. That's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after thinking you've earned it. Look, and it's also being reported, champ, that I'm reading the tweet from Jeremy Fowler. Baker Mayfield tells ESPN the Bucks offered him a 2-year deal, which was probably the most disappointing part. He wanted long-term commitment. Added Bucks were pretty far from 50 plus million per club, which he wanted to enter. Um, look, I think with the Buccaneers, they're probably going to move on from Baker Mayfield. They like Baker Mayfield. They appreciate Baker Mayfield. They appreciate what he's done for them since Tom Brady has walked out the door from Tampa. I mean, you look outside of Sam Darnold resurrecting his career. Can we name a better story than Baker Mayfield? I mean, when the Cleveland Browns, after a excellent rookie season. He struggled his sophomore year. His third year, he improved. He helped the Cleveland Browns get to the playoffs since 2002. He helped them win a playoff game since 1994. Year four, he did struggle due to an injury. They trade him to Carolina after they moved up and got Deshaun Watson because Cleveland, they wanted an adult in that position. But meanwhile, you bring in Deshaun Watson with all those accusations. He and Sam Darnold ironically land in Carolina, and they were burnt toast during that time in Carolina. Fortunately for Sam Darnold, he was able to go to San Francisco, Minnesota, and now Seattle to get the coaching he needed from Kyle Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell, and now with Mike McDonald. You look at Baker Mayfield, he was with the Rams, and Sean McVay during his time with the Rams, Baker Mayfield played solid. The Raiders game, the Thursday night football game in which he helped the Rams come back and win that game, and the Christmas Eve, the Christmas Day game against the Denver Broncos. And if you look at Baker Mayfield, his first 2 years with Tampa, back-to-back NFC South titles, Baker played really well in year two. Got over 4,000 yards, I think 41 touchdowns to like only 16 interceptions. Last year, the first half of the season, Baker Mayfield was looking like the MVP.
Yeah,
And
but
two of his
everybody
best
got hurt.
yeah, and
Everybody started getting hurt.
two of his best games that season was at Seattle. And the game against the San Francisco 49ers champ when he made that miraculous 3rd and 14 play.
Hmm.
I think, look, Baker, and I love this about Baker. Baker has a little chip on his shoulder. Baker feels disrespected and undervalued. And I feel like when you see a dangerous or angry Baker Mayfield, you see a more productive Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield has been playing very well for the past couple of years since he's been in Tampa. I'm glad that he's resurrected his career. My thing is with Tampa, you better have a plan or something because if you want to move on from Baker Mayfield, you're probably not going to end up getting one of these top-notch quarterbacks in this upcoming draft. You're too good enough of a team. It's not like you're the Jets. Okay, it's not like you're the Browns or any other team where you just there's a guarantee you're going to end up getting a top 3, top 5 pick in the draft. Buccaneers had not been for injuries, they would have won the division. And Baker Mayfield, if the Bucks probably finished with the number 2, number 3 seed, Baker Mayfield probably would have won league MVP.
Hmm.
So I think if you let Baker walk out the door, that's on Tampa. But for Baker, I think for now, just try to focus on having a productive season. If you can have a good season like you had those first 2 years, then chances are you're going to get a contract because eventually, if he has another productive season, somebody out there is going to want a quarterback. Steelers could use a quarterback champ because this is Aaron Rodgers' last year with the team. They need somebody. And Tampa, they're moving in a different direction because chances are Todd Bowles is going to be out the door.
Yeah.
There's a possibility, could they bring in Mike Tomlin? Because after all, he was the former defensive guys for the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl in 2002. Right now, Mike Tomlin is chilling. He's got a new job right now, I think, for Sunday Night Football on NBC.
Yeah.
So he's taking the Sean Payton approach because Sean Payton, after I think the 2021 season, he retired, went to Fox, and then after that, he became the head coach for the Denver Broncos in 2023. So I think for Tampa, they're probably moving into a different direction. I think they're going to head more of a reclamation process. My thing is with Baker, there's going to be some teams out there that could use you. Steelers could use you. Heck, the Texans could use you because are we sure with CJ Stroud? This is a make it or break it year for him. Can you
Oh my
imagine
God!
Baker Mayfield
You took the
back in
thought right out of my head.
yeah, can you imagine Baker Mayfield back in his home state of Texas to play with that team and with those types of weapons and with a good enough defense? All they need is competence at that quarterback position. And at this point, you cannot tell me CJ Stroud is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield. You just cannot tell me that at this point. There's going to be some teams out there, playoff contending teams that need a quarterback, and Baker Mayfield can be a good asset. So I think, like I said, the Steelers could use a quarterback. The Texans could use a quarterback. Heck, if it doesn't work out for Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield.
Hey, I was
But
thinking the same thing because I
great
was
minds
thinking
think
about,
alike. Great
yes,
minds
indeed,
always
because I
think
was about
alike.
to say, hell, if I'm Houston, what am I thinking right about now? Because do I really trust CJ Stroud at this point with this team? Because right now you got one of the better defenses in the world. You got two of the best bookends in the league, Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson. Got one of the best secondaries in the league.
Got that
Do I
nice
really?
linebacker.
Yes, not to mention the linebackers. You got competence in every position at this point. Hopefully, Tank Dell comes back stronger than ever. You wouldn't got David Montgomery, stole him from the Detroit Lions. He don't have a lot of mileage on him. So do you really trust CJ Stroud? That's something to think about while you're in July rather than you're in August.
And we're a day away from August.
That's something to that's something I'm talking about knee deep in August. I'm talking about when the season is first going to start. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm like, hey, Houston, should you get on that phone and say, hey, you don't want to pay Baker Mayfield? We got some room for him down here. We got some cap space. Let's get this guy who has basically cost us our last two playoff games. I don't want to see this defense get wasted like Dave Warnstead's defense got wasted down there in Miami when they had Patrick Surtain Sr., Sam Madison, Junior Seau, Jason Taylor, Alawale Goulier, all of those guys, Keith Traylor. Remember, they had a magnificent defense down there in Miami with Dave Warnstead. Couldn't win anything because they didn't have the quarterback play. Right now, if you really look at it, the Houston Texans have everything going for them except quarterback play. And it remains to see how CJ Stroud is going to end up at this point. Because right now, like I've said before, I've said again, he's the Michael Carter Williams of the NFL. He has never recaptured that rookie year. And if he fouls up again, you'd be ignorant if you're the Houston Texans to say, well, the coach is the problem because the damn quarterback, he's the one throwing all the interceptions in the playoffs. So I really think that, hey, if the Texans are really looking to win it all and bring Houston its first Super Bowl in the history of that illustrious city, bringing its first championship since Clutch City with the King Olajuwon and company, I would strongly consider calling up Tampa Bay and calling up Baker Mayfield's agent and say, hey, we got you a good little $200 million contract that we was going to give C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's really not doing anything right about now. Let me go ahead and give you a proven quarterback that type of money. We got the receivers, we got the running back, we got the line, and we got the defense. Get
And
us
we
to a
have the
Super Bowl.
coach. We
And
have
we got the coach.
everything. And we
And we
have
got the
everything.
coaching. They got
Yeah,
coaching everywhere.
yeah,
So,
but
hey,
but D'Amico Ryan's we starts it with him. That's why I said Houston, because imagine if you actually put him in Houston. I don't think he's going to go Atlanta champ because again, I can't
they're not
imagine
going to
Tampa
trade him
Bay.
within that division. They're not going to do that because I
That
wouldn't do it either.
that's
But
that's my point. But
yeah,
imagine if you had Baker in Atlanta
yeah,
with
I
this
don't
type
think
of
they would do
talent,
that.
you could actually win a division.
Yeah, you could maybe even win a championship with that. With Baker Mayfield, that defense, the
I
running
would say,
backs, yeah, you maybe even win a
I,
championship.
maybe compete for a championship. I would say maybe more NFC championship because I
NFC
can't.
championship, that's farther than we've been in a long time.
No, the only
But
reason why I say NFC championship because I still can't disregard Seattle. I still can't disregard the Rams, the
oh,
40.
absolutely. The final boss of the league right about now is the St. Louis. Damn. The LA Rams. I'm sorry, guy. I'm sorry to the audience out there. I'm old still, so I'm still
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
still
That's okay.
second St. Louis.
We're still used to calling the Chargers the San Diego
Yeah, I'm still
Chargers.
used to call the Chargers San Diego Chargers. Hell, last year I was still calling Levi Stadium. I was still calling that damn thing Candlestick Park. I'm like, oh, you didn't play the Candlestick today. Like, so yeah, so if I'm the Houston Texans, like you said, I'm getting on that phone and chirping that phone. And I believe the reason why they're not anxious to pay him, I don't think Todd Bowles is going to be there next year. There's been a lot of players that have a lot of questionable things to say about Coach Bowles, and I don't know what's really going on in that organization around that at this point in time. So it's going to be interesting to see. And I think that's why they don't want to commit to him long term, because I don't know who's coach going to be. We might go in a rebuild direction next year, and I don't need you out here playing to the letter, and then we give you a fat contract, and now we're not able to sign free agents. We're not able to sign our rookies. We're not able to get good deals and things. I really think that it's deeper than just them not wanting to pay. If they had a great team and they saw opportunity in order to win a Super Bowl at this point, if they still had a lot of the key pieces that they had before, yeah, they probably would. But I don't think that they're heading in that direction. I think they're heading they I think that Tampa, that organization, they know they're heading down rather than up.
Plus, well, not only that, champ, also Vita Vea is in the discussions for trade blocks.
Yeah, and that a lot of their great players are on their way out of the door. A lot of the remnants from that great 2020 team, from that from Tom Brady's team, they're not there anymore.
So it
So
tells us that Tampa is
it's probably
moving
going to
on.
go to a rebuild mode. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to play. I'm not trying to pay a big time quarterback who I know is going to warrant 200, maybe $300 million. I can't pay you this type of money because guess what? I'm going to have a good ass quarterback, and I'm not going to have much else to put around you. I think it's much deeper than just the disrespect. I think it's the fact that Tampa knows that they're not going anywhere fast, even with Baker Mayfield, because they're not going to have much to put around it.
Well, that's why Baker shouldn't feel disrespected because I'm looking at it from the Bucks organization standpoint. All of our players are moving on. We're getting older. We got to move into a different direction. We got to go younger. So we have to move on. As for Baker, I think he needs to move on after the season. But I would love to see him. If it doesn't work out for CJ in Houston, I hope it does for his sake. I wouldn't mind Baker Mayfield in Houston
Yeah, I wouldn't mind
because
Baker Mayfield in Houston. They win a championship if he goes to Houston.
with those types of weapons that he has in Nico Collins and Tank Dell when healthy, and with that type of defense, all you just need is competency at the quarterback play. And Baker Mayfield, before the Buccaneers fell off, he was playing like the MVP. So imagine with this type of Baker, and he's still relatively young. He's what, 31 years old.
Yeah, he's
So
only
he's got
31 years old. He's not old. He ain't like he's my age.
no. And that's why I said, and look, there's still going to be opportunities out there and coaching. When you have coaching, when you have structure, when you have talent around you, it's conducive to winning. And I think with Baker, I think he'll be fine. But I think Tampa, they're just moving on. It's not just with Baker, it's just a lot of other things. They're moving on from Vita Vea. I hope he doesn't go to the Cowboys. Or I would like to see him go to some other team. But hey, it is what it is. But big fella, NFC East predictions. BRF, unfortunately, BRF is not here, but he did predict that the Dallas Cowboys will win the NFC East. I think he's saying that because Dallas will take a step up defensively because they fired Matt Eberflus, and that's on Jerry. No, I'm sorry, that's on Jerry. As much as we praise Jerry for what he's done in the draft and free agency, and Jerry did his homework, I'm sorry, he did hire Matt Eberflus. And the minute I announced the news to you, you were like, "I'm done. I'm good." Because Jerry, what are you doing? Because by hiring Matt Eberflus, this defense is not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. And
Yeah,
they were worse. They moved on from Trayvon Diggs. They moved on from a lot of other players. They did trade to get Rashawn Gary. They got the trade for Quinn Williams during the trade deadline. So that's also good. They did re-sign Javonte Williams to a 3-year deal. George Pickens, I believe he's playing with that franchise tag.
yeah.
But and also too, Dak Prescott had a heck of a season last year.
Yep.
And mind you, they did this without CD because CD was also injured as well. So my thing is, it's either going to be the Cowboys or the Eagles win the division. I have the Eagles winning the division because I think, though, moving on from AJ Brown was a plus. I think Jalen Hurts will do a better job getting the ball to Devontae Smith. I think Hicks, the other targets, the wide receiver from USC. So
Makai Lemon.
Makai Lemon. More importantly, Kevin Patola will no longer be the offensive coordinator
Thank
for
God.
this team because that was the thing that was holding them back. I do think Saquon will have a productive season. Definitely not the type of season he had in 2024, not 2,000 yard season. And remember, the reason why he regressed last year because when running backs have an historic season, an all-time historic season, the following year they regress. Look at Jamal Lewis. Look at other running backs who've had historic seasons. They regress the following season. Saquon still has enough left in the tank. And now the defense is kind of concerning because they did lose one of their pieces from the Eagles, who's now with Dallas. He's the defensive coordinator, I think. You did lose N'Kobe Dean. You did lose Nolan Smith. So that's going to be a concern. But I still think that Philadelphia should win the division because I think because to me, by getting rid of AJ Brown, I don't think Jalen Hurts has to worry about force feeding the football. Let him play to his strengths. And I think they're gonna get the running game going. And I think if they just play smart smash mouth defense, which Philadelphia is capable of, I have Philadelphia winning the division. As for Washington, as much as I would love to see Washington win the division, I think their front seven is going to be excellent. But my concern is Jaden Daniels. Can he stay healthy? That's the concern. Can other players around them can they stay healthy as well? So I think with Washington, the only good thing about it I can say is that they're the underdogs. No one is expecting a lot from them. But the good thing is Terry McLaurin is also there because last year he held out because he was trying to get his money, rightfully so. So I think with Washington, and we've had a solid off season. We did get
Yes, you did.
Chigweka Okonkwo, the tight end from Tennessee. We did get one of the defensive guys from the Los Angeles Chargers. We did drafted Sonny Styles. So I do like what Washington has done. And then I can't ignore what the New York Giants have done. Malik Neighbors is coming back. Jackson Dart, hopefully, if he can stay healthy. Cam Scatterboo, as long as he doesn't put himself in harm's way or anything like that. John Harbaugh, this is first year as the head coach for the Giants. Who do you have winning the division, big fella? Dallas?
How about the Cowboys? I got the Dallas Cowboys winning. Shout out to Mom. That one's for you, Mom. I got your Cowboys winning. So with all of the acquisitions that they have made in this offseason, when they got Rashad Gary, looking like they're kind of right at this point in time with the Mika Parsons trade at this point in time because he's been often injured. He really hasn't hit with that spunk like he really hasn't had that impact that we thought he was going to have. We really thought that after that injury last year, he was going to have some great impact, but come to find out, he's injured once again. So he hasn't had that impact that we would hope he would have. I've always said that Michael Parsons is the Derek Thomas of this generation, but unfortunately, he hasn't had that impact the last season, and it doesn't look like he's going to have it this season. They would have addressed, they would have got Caleb Downs. Shout out to the Downs family, whose father Gary Downs went to Spencer High, right here in Columbus, Georgia. Shout out to the Downs family, and I can also say Jerry went out there and he outdid himself this year. And there wasn't a lot of talking. He wasn't able to get a deal done with George Pickens, but he was able to get him to play on the franchise tag. And you best believe that if he has a good season, Jerry's going to reward him. Jerry's always going to take care of his good players. But if they're healthy this year, barring health, they're going to at least get to the second round, and I can see them winning the division. I think that it's too much to overcome with it's only so many damn offensive coordinators that you can have in Philadelphia before everything just kind of takes its toll. I don't think it's Jalen Hurts at all. I don't think it's the offense. I really think it's you getting used to operating in one area. And then when you get used to this, then the very next year you gotta get another offensive coordinator. You got to get another offensive coordinator. So it's only so many offensive coordinators you can bring in before it just takes their toll on the mentality of this team. It's getting weird at a certain point. They have got to find some stability at the offensive side of the ball as far as the offensive coordinator, get them to commit long term. There has to be something. I don't think that it's going to take them a minute in order to get used to this new offensive coordinator. And if once they do, I don't know how long it's going to take them to settle in. Is it going to be very, very run heavy? Is it going to be very, very pass heavy? What are we going to do? So that's one concern. I can't really say the Giants. This is a very, very young team. Very, very young team. You got characters like Cam Scatterboo putting his damn career in jeopardy by doing black flips at the
Fanatics.
Fanatics party. Why was you there in the first damn place? Idiotic. Like, I don't know what that was. You just hurt your leg last season. Now you out here doing black flips. And people are going to say, well, Gronk did the same thing. Gronk was well established and had won Super Bowl long before he started getting out of hand. So, hey, when you win Super Bowls, you the best at your position, you got the right to act the fool on stage and put yourself at risk. That's the thing. Because they wasn't going to cut Gronk. That's just being real. They wasn't going to cut Gronk. So I really feel like that, hey, this is a young team in New York. I think they have a chance to make the wild card, considering how great of a coach that John Harbaugh
Harbaugh.
is. You know, if Jackson if Jackson Dart can be great, if a lot of these other players that they have can fall in line and buy into the philosophy, I think that they can do a lot of great things. I think they're a wild card team. Washington, love Washington. Fortunately, they got to get a. They had a good off season, but I just don't know. I want to see how they're going to do without Cliff Kingsbury.
I think they'll be fine, champ, with Roth. Look, Jaden Daniels. What is the thing you've often praised him for? What's that thing that he does when he's that helmet, that camera he has on his helmet? I can't remember what it is. Like as
Oh,
far
that
as
virtual reality, the
yes,
virtual reality helmet.
yeah, it helps him with. I think that's like great with photographic memory. Helps him become cognizant, like reading
Yeah,
defenses and stuff like that. Look, Washington last year we had a down year because older players. Remember, we had the oldest roster in the NFL last year, and on top of that, we had some noticeable players that were injured. Jaden Daniels was also injured. Luke McCaffrey was also injured. Um, Crockery Merritt, or Bill as we call him, he was also injured as well. So Washington has a good offseason, but again, are we sure with Dan Quinn whether if it's going to be his last year in Washington or not? The good thing is with Washington, I don't think there's much expectations. And you saw what happened in 2024 with no expectations. They made it to the NFC Championship. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen again, but I think with Washington under the new ownership, fair to say that we won't end up. I hope, for Washington's sake, we don't take a page from Dan Snyder.
no,
That's my only hope. As for
no,
Dallas, it wouldn't surprise me if you win the division because you improved your worst component, which is your defense. Meanwhile, you keep the offense intact, and Brian Schottenheimer did a solid job with the offense. But the thing is, champ, do you trust Jerry during the middle of the season? Because Jerry somehow, some way, he's got a microphone. He's gonna say some things. Dallas, they're gonna put up their points. They're gonna put up their numbers. They're gonna. It wouldn't surprise me if they win the division. But Jerry Jones loves to talk, champ.
yeah,
Jerry Jones loves to talk, just like Donald Trump loves to tweet. So that's pretty obvious. That's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. It's Donald Trump passing gas in front of people all the time and falling asleep all the time. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's the truth. That's the truth.
Whoo, Lord, man, Lord help us. That's amazing, ain't it? but I look when they're winning, Jerry's gonna talk. I mean, when they're winning, Jerry's gonna talk.
No, he's
But
gonna talk, but he's also
when,
gonna say some crazy things as well too. I'm like, come on, Jerry, what are you thinking?
yeah,
And
that's how Jerry is. Jerry is the. I always say Jerry is the George Steinbrenner of the NFL. He's the George Steinbrenner. He's gonna talk. George Steinbrenner.
I think he's the Vince McMahon of the NFL.
I say George Steinbrenner because guess what? His talk. He's talking because of his sport. You know, the sport is what gives Jerry his mouthpiece. And when you have, and look, Jerry turned billionaires into billionaires when it came to these NFL owners because of the business model that he completely rewrote back in the 90s. So I'm gonna just be real. He's gonna talk. The thing is, it's up to the players at this point. It's up to the coaches at this point. Because guess what? It's only so much talking that the owner can do. It's up to y'all at this point. So I mean, y'all need to stop. The owner can talk all he wants to because just like George Steinbrenner, Jerry's going to talk. But at the end of the day, you got to think about this. It's up to y'all now. Y'all have no excuses at this point. Y'all got to at least make it to the playoffs. Y'all playoffs. You got to at least make it to the playoffs, even the second round, at least at bare minimum. So it's no excuse now because now you got rid of all of the bad apples. You got rid of DeRon Bland, who shout out to Trent, one of the most knowledgeable guys that we know. Shout out to Trent, not to mention what hell of an athlete he himself. I didn't realize how big Trent was until
Hmm.
I didn't realize how big Trent was until he stood up one day. I'm like, Jesus. But shout out to Trent and and Mastermind Donnie.
Yes.
Uh, they said that that whole secondary, you talk about DeRon Bland and Trayvon Diggs. One was a pick six merchant, the other one was an interception merchant.
Well,
And
it wasn't just
ironically,
them saying. Well, it wasn't just them saying that. BRF also said that Trayvon Diggs was the most overrated player. He thought that's what he said about Trayvon at the time.
yes, indeed.
But big fella, the reason why I can't let Jerry off the hook, yeah, Jerry's gonna talk, but at the same time, Jerry, that still don't make it right though. And
No,
sometimes the things that you say, how's it conducive to winning?
it's
So
not if you don't win. It's
I
not if you
mean, yeah,
don't win.
we can't ignore the players champ, but Jerry, we know for a fact. I mentioned this stat to you multiple times. Jerry, back in 2019, he accumulated 6 players that made the Pro Bowl, didn't even make the playoffs. So Jerry Jones is known for accumulating talent. Jerry Jones is known for doing things, champ. But at the same time, Jerry Jones is going to say something dumb or incoherent. And my thing is, Jerry Jones is too involved. That's been the problem with the Dallas Cowboys. I think in order for them to win something, you're gonna have to allow Jerry to sit back and allow people that you hired to do the job. Brian Schottenheimer proved to me last year he was a good enough job as a coach. You were kind of leery because even though he is the son of rest his soul Marty Schottenheimer, but at the same time, Jerry, you hired him because after all, he was a young dude. You weren't gonna hire a type of experienced guy because at the end of the day, Jerry, experienced guys, people been there and done it, they don't want to be told what to do. So my
No,
thing is, Jerry, you just gotta allow people to do the job and go from there. And Jerry, at the end of the day, it's about making sacrifices. I've said it before, champ. The reason why I said I would rather work with Dolan than Jerry Jones is because no matter how petulant and childish Dolan is, he's going to allow me to do my job. He's not going to tell me what to do. Dolan is willing to step back and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll defer to you. And guess what? We won. The Knicks won a championship. Whoever thought that the New York Knicks would actually win a championship before under James Dolan's ownership than the Dallas Cowboys? And it's hard to tell Jerry Jones to step back because Jerry Jones has done his part as a GM and as an owner.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to tell somebody to step back when your formula is successful. But like I stated, Jones is going to talk. But in my humble opinion, it's up to the coaches and the players at this point. You got the tools. So go out there. Look, in the great words of my uncle passed, look, I gave you the tools. Go out there and dig the ditch. You got the tools. So Brian Schottenheimer, you got rid of Matt Eberflus's dumbass, and
But
you
that's
was
on
able
Jerry
to
because you hired them.
so you got rid of him. You realized your mistake in a hurry. Thank God you did that. But you was able to get rid of him. And look, now you got a lot of you got the horses in order to run the race. Now you just got to go out there and run the race at this point. Ain't no sense in like I said. Jerry can talk all he wants to. Like I said, George Steinbrenner did the same thing. God rest his soul. But it's up to the players at this point. We can talk about Jerry. Jerry ain't through nail pass in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. He can talk all he wants to. Hey, it's up to the players. You got to go out there and get it because now it's put up a shit up. They gave you the tools. Now you got to go play. So let's play.
I still disagree with you, big fella, because at the end of the day, I've told you before with Jerry, his mouth is going to get him into trouble. And I've told you, Jerry Jones is more than just the owner, the GM. Jerry Jones is going to talk. And when the moment and Jerry, unlike most other owners, he talks after games, weekly radio shows, stuff like that. And if Mama Champ is going to be complaining about Jerry Jones, Mama Champ, this is going to be on you because, again, you get, I mean, I don't get you, Mama Champ. I know you're a Cowboy fan, but you rip on Vince McMahon, but you riding with Jerry Jones. But that's a story for another day.
Well, Jerry's a different beast.
Did you
I
see,
mean, look,
did Mama
Jer-
Champ look at him as a different beast when he was with Bill Clinton?
probably so. But like I said, she's a
They're
fan of the
Arkansas
team.
dudes.
She is a fan of the Cowboys. I don't think she's necessarily a fan of Jerry. She's a fan because of Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, those guys. Like I said, she wasn't a big fan of Nick Van Exel when he was part of the LA Lakers, ironically. No, she hated Nick Van Exel.
You said she
So
liked Dick Van Dyke, so
no, she
she
hated
never
him.
liked Van Dyke. Hell, she won't even allow you to wear them damn shoes.
No, them Nick Van Exels, I know they're around here somewhere. She hated Nick Van Exel. So yeah, there's a lot of I think she liked the team. She's more in love with the team more so than the idea of Jerry. But so hey, big ups to Jerry. You got your team the tools. Hey, Cowboys, go perform.
I
Ain't
got
no
the
more.
Eagles winning the division. I just think with the Eagles, now with Patola out, hopefully the offense can expand. You don't have to worry about AJ Brown anymore. You don't have to worry about force feeding him the football. I do think that Saquon will have a bounce back season. Despite the losses on the defensive side, I still think that Philly's going to be the good enough team. Um, as for Washington, I hope they can actually do something, maybe wild card, but I don't know.
Where do you see Vita Vea going to?
Probably somewhere in the AFC. I don't
Yeah.
see Tampa Bay trading him and him staying in the NFC. That's my humble opinion.
Long as he don't
I
go
would
to
hate
the
for him to
Rams.
go to Dallas because can you imagine if you pair him up with him and Quinn Williams? Jerry
Hey,
could pull off that trade.
yeah, you pull out that trade. The only thing that requires like a second round pick, second maybe third round pick. Go get him.
And Jerry, you're not getting any younger. So, but big fella, speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, the news last week, Tony Romo, he was arrested for DUI. I mean, there was the video of him with the police officer, then the mugshot. I don't know if you heard the news. I sent it to you. He is now on leave. CBS, it's been reported that CBS announced that Tony Romo will be on leave and that JJ Watt will be his replacement. In the meantime, Tony Romo is due back in court in Wisconsin in September. When I heard the news that Tony Romo was arrested for DUI, I was shocked because Tony Romo, him, like, I would expect this from Tiger or somebody else, but Tony, but not happen. Um, I hope Tony is okay. Tony obviously exercised in poor judgment. Um, like I always say at the end of the show, champ, if you're gonna drink, hey, drink responsibly. And who am I to criticize someone for drinking? I drink myself. Heck, I have 2, 3 margaritas sometimes a night. Sometimes I have me some wine and stuff like that, but I always make sure I drink responsibly.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm disappointed that Tony would put himself in this situation, given the fact that it's his first time, given the fact that Tony, you've made enough money throughout your career. I mean, your NFL career. I mean, with the Dallas Cowboys, not just any franchise, America's team. And plus, you're still adored and revered in Dallas. You still have connections in Dallas. Jerry, hell, Jerry looks at you as like a son. He
Yeah.
even admitted I think Jerry admitted thing that he missed the most, the thing that he was unable to do was get to a Super Bowl with Tony Romo and Jason Witten. And look, this is not to cast aspersions on Tony Romo because I'm quite sure Tony Romo is a very likable guy, good guy. Tony, in that particular situation, exercised in poor judgment. I don't see Tony Romo spending a day in jail. Look, this is his first crime he committed. I think Tony's just going to get like a slap on the wrist, a fine. That's about it. Tony can certainly afford it because obviously he has the money. Um, Would it cost him his job in CBS? That depends on how well JJ Watt performs. It's not just in business, champ, but also in life. The moment they can find somebody who can do just as good, if not a better job than that person without the concerns or the headaches, then chances are they're going to move on. I don't see Tony Romo leaving CBS because Tony Romo does a damn good job as far as
Yes.
breaking apart and analyzing. And if Tony Romo leaves CBS, as you always say, big fella, what's the landscape for everyone nowadays? What we're doing, podcasting. You've often said podcast is the new landscape. It's the new HBO. Everyone can have a podcast. So, and Tony Romo, if he would have his own podcast himself, breaking down, analyzing plays, Tony Romo's going to get his views.
Yeah.
We all know that for a fact. But I'm disappointed that Tony put himself in that situation. Like I always say, people, if you're going to drink, drink responsibly. Please don't be behind the wheel of a car because not only you're putting your life in danger, but you're also putting other people's lives in danger as well. Thank God no one was severely hurt or injured or worst case scenario dead. I think Tony is just going to get a slap on the wrist. I don't see Tony Romo spending a day in jail. I do think that he should pay a fine. I also do recommend counseling. Just because you're going to counseling, that doesn't mean there's something seriously wrong with you, but you need some help. I go to therapy myself. Okay, because at the end of the day, I have problems just like everyone else. I'm human. Just because I talk to a therapist, just because I have counseling, that does not mean I can't enjoy my life. I do think that Tony Romo should have some counseling. I do think he should pay a fine. I do think there should be some consequences, but I don't think the consequences should be severely harsh. I still think that Tony Romo, I'm going to look at it and say, look, he made a mistake, but this is his first time. Unlike Tiger, if this were Tiger Woods, on the other hand, no, I'm being serious, champ. It's no surprise
No,
with
I'm not
Tiger.
laughing at what you're saying. I'm laughing because of the circumstances. Like, bro, it's about your damn 18 DUI. You need to
Right.
sit your head down. You need to have your license stripped for life.
But because of the fact that Tony, this is his first time with the law. And speaking of Tiger, if Tiger gets a pass and still continuing to live his life and enjoy his life and not face any serious consequences like spending days or months in jail, what difference would it make with Tony Romo, given the fact that this is his first time? So I hope with Tony he learned a lesson. I hope everyone learned a valuable lesson. Don't be behind the wheel of a car drunk or inebriated. And Tony,
Yeah.
you have the money. You could have hired a Lyft, an Uber, a cab, any type of service. You have the money, you have the resources. So there's no excuse for Tony Romo on his part. But like I said, I don't think that Tony Romo should face any jail time. I think Tony should face some consequences, but I do think that Tony Romo should still able to maintain his job and go on with his life. That's my opinion. What's yours, big fella?
First time I've ever seen Tony Romo in trouble. So it's like, okay. It's like, you haven't been in trouble this entire time. It's just a bad night. Everybody has their bad night at the office. You know, you go out there, you overindulge, you do a little bit too much, and you decide for another reason, one way or another, to drive home. Wrong philosophy to have, but you decide to drive home.
Right.
So, hey, should he lose his job? No, not because of one incident. If he was a recidivist like a lot of other guys, I would say, yeah, get him out of there. But he's not a recidivist. He is, like I said, he was a model citizen in the NFL, and thus far at CBS, he's been a model citizen. So, like I said, when you make one mistake, I don't believe there should be a death sentence. So
And
now,
plus, he's too good of a performer, production intolerance, unless you
yeah,
can find
and
somebody else to replace him
had this been a domestic violence situation or an aggravated assault or something like that,
or an
mm,
essay.
yeah, we might have to pack you up. But this is a situation, a bad night at the office. Let's get you your treatment. Let's get you the help that you need. Do not go. I will, if I'm CBS, I am telling you, look, man, you are an analyst now. I am having a strong talk to her, like, bro, you're an analyst. You got to understand something. This is not Jerry's world where everything gonna get hidden in the media. You are part of the media now, so we can't have one of our media members doing crazy shit. So I would say that. But I would look if they release him. Look, hey, sit in the Fox. I'd love to see him and Tom Brady commentate on a game together. I would love to see that. So I love to see that. But I think it's just a bad day at the office at this point. Hey, had a bad day at the office. Take your whippings like a man, and look, move forward. Hopefully, you still got your job when you come back. You know, that's all I have to say about that. That's like I said, a bad night at the office. You did something crazy, did something stupid. Hey, I don't think that deserves a life sentence. Like I said, had it been battery, DV, uh,
Essay.
R wording, SA, yeah, they might
That
need to
that
pack
that
you.
that would have been entirely
Yeah,
different,
you need to get his ass up out of there. But
unless we know all the details.
unless we know all the details, now if it would have been vehicular manslaughter because you was drunk, that's a whole nother ball game. So
But because this is your first time, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll just look at it and say, Tony, that's not a true reflection of who you are as a person. You just exercise poor judgment. I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. But if I am CBS though, I have to make sure I'm vigilant with Tony because he's one of our top commodities in the company. And I don't think Tony Romo's leaving. And if CBS lets him go, Tony's still going to be fine. He still has opportunities. He still has connections with the Cowboys organization. And like I said before, champ, podcasting.
yeah, yeah, like I said, it's the HBO of our time. It's the HBO for content creators. So
Hell, I mean, look, people, hey, I mean, even though I love doing it for free, hey, I need some money. So does World Champ. I mean, give World Champ and I a platform with BRF. Watch what we can do.
yeah, just look, you ain't gotta give me that much money. I ain't asked for millions. Give me about 150. Free travel, free hotels. We can do some business then.
No, I look. I just want to make a good amount of money so I can get myself a nice little condo, so
Yeah.
that I continue.
Yeah,
That's about it. So I can
I ain't
continue
asking to live
getting our.
extravagant. I don't need no Rolls Royce. I don't need none of that. I need to be able to just be stable. So,
Just just give me a boom arm, a microphone like I got, like the big fellas guy. Just
yeah,
give us an opportunity for us to live in good neighborhoods, good enough
yeah,
houses, able enough to take care of our families and friends and our communities. That's about it. and
Yeah,
just giving people opportunities. But Tony Romo, I believe he'll be fine. I hope he learned a very valuable lesson, and more importantly, I hoped all of us, in all seriousness, I hope all of us learned a very valuable lesson about
yeah,
drunk driving and DUIs. Actions do have consequences. So
yeah. In the great words of Minister Farrakhan, great words of Minister Farrakhan, when you see people fall, don't laugh, learn from it, because it could very well you that's next. It could be very well you that's next, and you don't have to go through stuff in order to know that it's painful. So if you when you see people fall, don't laugh, learn from it.
because
So
eventually it could be you.
yeah, so be careful about laughing at your friends or your enemies when it comes to stuff. Don't laugh, learn from it. So shout out to Minister Louis Farrakhan, and shout out to Sister Farrakhan, who recently passed away. Uh, Heart
Rest her
goes
soul.
out, rest her soul. So yeah, got had to send that shout out to them.
Nah, it's all good, big fella. All right, man. We may end off the show a little bit early, but just because we may end off the show a little bit early, we always still gonna do some more content for you on the Sports PSP podcast. Now, one of my favorite topics on the show, baby face or heel. Now, for those who may not know what baby face heel means in wrestling language, baby face is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, a tweener is someone in between. So me and the big fella, we're gonna decide whether they are a baby face, heel, or tweener. Now, one of them I did do. I think he is a tweener. But I'll let Champ go on this one. Jameis Winston.
Tweener.
Yeah,
I gotta say a tweener because although I remember everything recently, I cannot disregard, a lot of things that you said, some of your transgressions of the past. Granted, it's the past, but you know, you can't forget them. So especially when you told the young women to kind of be seen and not heard, which is very much the wrong answer, especially these days with the rise of women's sports and things of that nature. And with the incident in Florida State. So, you know, not to mention the incident with the Uber driver. So, yeah, you have been, great later on in your career. You have transitioned. People don't even remember that anymore at a certain
they
point.
remember you as the Martin Luther King.
They believe, yeah, yeah. We start
The
calling
Lord's
him
gonna
Martin Luther,
deliver me.
yeah, Martin Luther King Winston. What I used to call him during the season, but he's a Lord deliver me from these pick
Pick
sixes.
sixes.
But yeah, that's Jameis Winston. Now I'm glad he was able to turn around his life, not get in any more trouble, not have his name brought up in any more incidents, and was able to do a lot of great things with his life. And you got to commend somebody for understanding, hey, I messed up and I don't need to get in trouble. I don't need to do all of this nonsense. Let me keep my nose clean. Now he's a national treasure. He's out there at the World Cup dancing and doing this thing out there. He's a national treasure doing the newscasting. He was the helping the Japanese kids when they was out there cleaning up the stadium because that
Hmm.
cleanliness is big in the Japanese culture. So when their World Cup round was over, they went out there and every last one of them was out there cleaning up. So yeah, so I got to give him a tweeter, but simply because of a lot of other things that went on in his career, man. Like I said, granted, you put it behind you and you move forward, but a lot of people are never gonna forget those things. And guess what? Two things can be true in the great words of Charles Barkley. So
I say tweener because to keep the same energy and consistency, because what Champ is referring to is the sexual assault allegations Jameis Winston was dealing with in Florida State and the Uber incident. Remember, Jameis Winston served a 3-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy regarding an Uber incident in which he was accused of groping an Uber female driver. My thing is, Champ, look, if we're gonna say Ben Roethlisberger is a tweener, and you know very well about Lake Tahoe, Nevada, and Milledgeville, Georgia.
yeah,
If we're gonna call a spade, if we're gonna keep the same energy, if we're gonna say Ben Roethlisberger is a tweener, same thing has to apply with Jameis Winston. So, and that's what I said in the video. So Jameis Winston, I say tweener. There were other incidents that he did do that were kind of silly. funny to me. Remember him stealing crab legs from the supermarket?
You know what? I with that incident, I think he was covering for somebody, and I really here's my thing, and here's just what I believe. I think he was covering for somebody, and he didn't want somebody to lose their job because you know people give you free shit all the time when you go to certain supermarkets, and I know I have personally gotten some free shit from one of your buddies. You go there, somebody give you some stuff, and you walk out the store with it, and guess what? They give you some stuff. Hey, he paid for that already. Blah 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 blah. And guess what? Nothing's ever said about it. But I really think during that crab legs incident, which like I said, somebody give you something and they constantly giving you the hookup. I take the heat for you this time. Don't even worry about it. I don't want you to lose your job. And I really think that I think with that incident, he was covering for somebody. He didn't want nobody to lose their job. Somebody give you 2 pounds of crab legs, and you just walk. I mean, and at public supermarket, I don't know if they got a Publix up there in New Jersey. You go
No,
right,
no,
you
it's a
go
Stop
right.
and Shop. If you go to the public supermarkets, I would know this because I'm from Florida myself. There's there in Florida, Tennessee. I think they got it in Georgia.
Yeah, they got plenty. They got 3 of them in Columbus. Well, they got 4 of them, and hell, people be at Publix doing line dancing and all type of shit at Publix. Black folk, we love Publix, but I would just be real, especially down south, man. Look, when you go to Publix down south, especially in Georgia, man, you see folks line dancing, all types of shit in Publix, man. They got a diner in Publix. You can literally you grab your food, sit down there, and maybe have a little date, a little Publix date, some shit like that. But yeah, there's been plenty of times where you get some free shit and somebody say, "Hey man, did you pay for that?" And rather than saying, "Hey man, somebody just gave me the hookup," you said, "No, my bad. I lost track of time. I'm just wandering around. Let me go and pay for it." You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, people give you the hookup all the time, but you don't want to sit around here and give them up because they're gonna you hook up and they're gonna probably their job. So I really truly believe that during that situation, he was covering for somebody.
All right, next one on the list as far as with Babyface heel, Nick Chubb, Babyface.
Babyface.
He doesn't really have
Babyface.
much to say. Really, a mild mannered dude. Matter of fact, the play against the Houston Texans, I think it was either the Houston Texans or the Cincinnati Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sorry. He could have easily scored a touchdown, but he decided to put it on the 1 yard line. But one of
Nick
the
Chubb.
examples why Georgia is running back you for a reason, because you had Sony Michelle, you had TG, Todd Gurley, Nick Chubb. You've had a lot of great talent that have come from Georgia at the running back position. Herschel Walker, James Cook, Nick Chubb is a perfect example. And when they were running the football with him, he was conducive for the Cleveland Browns getting to the playoffs in 2020 and winning a playoff game. And
Yeah.
at that point he was one of the top 10 running backs in the NFL during his time, or top 5. So I
Yeah.
got to say Babyface.
Yeah, babyface. Plus, even at Georgia, he didn't say too much. They used to call, Sony Michelle was the more vocal guy. Nick Chubb didn't say a word at Georgia. You rarely heard a peep out of it. Plus, for him to come back from not one but 2 major knee injuries, considering how bad they were, it
Yes.
was crazy. So
And
I
he's
just hate that.
explosive.
Yes. Did you see how big that damn dude thighs is, bro? That dude was huge. That dude was chiseled marble. Um, Got to give credit where credit is due, man. Oh man, I just hate that he never got a chance to, which is the case with a lot of Georgia backs. It's just like you see them do, you see the potential, but you never really see them do on championship teams, with the exception of Sony Michelle. Sony Michelle, he won one with the New England Patriots. But when you think about a lot of Georgia backs, you think about Herschel Walker, you think about Todd Gurley, other than I will say Terrell Davis, you know, championships kind of elude them. And their career is often short. And even with Terrell Davis, arguably one of the best backs to ever play in Georgia, you know, very, very short career. But in those brief moments, it's amazing. In those brief moments, where they just shine the brightest. It's amazing. Garrison Hurst, you name them, we reel them out. It's just, it's amazing. And those are just the big names. Don't forget about Rodney Hampton. Rodney Hampton wasn't no joke neither when he was in for the New York Giants. I remember my father used to play with him in Tecmo Bowl all the time. For those of you who remember Tecmo Bowl, by the way. But Nick Chubb's man, mild mannered as hell, never said a word, and I would have made a big stink out of being in Cleveland, and if I was him. But hey, it is what it is. So
Hey, Cleveland ain't that bad of a place though. I've been there one
when you're
time. It's actually
losing, hell,
nice.
yes, it is.
I'm talking about as a city. I'm not talking about in terms of the Browns culture, champ. I'm talking about the city.
The
Yes.
city, no, but Browns culture, no.
The Browns, no, Browns as an organization, we all know how they are as an organization. I was talking about their city, their
The
city.
city's cool. The
Yeah,
city's cool. You'll be surprised. People underestimate Cleveland. Cleveland is a very, very spectacular city. It's a very good sports town. Unfortunately, it's a small market. It's not necessarily a glamour city. You got to be there in order to realize what it is. But as far as the franchise is concerned, be thankful that you had guys like Nick Chubb that didn't demand to get the hell out of town, because I would have.
all right. And I can see the big fella either checking out Friday Night SmackDown or the WNBA. I know his Atlanta Dream is probably on right now.
No, checking out, making sure I know what I'm talking about on everything as far as the articles are concerned. Because Nick Chubb, 7,000 over 7,000 yards, 53 touchdowns, and I think his biggest season was in 2022, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. He had two 12 touchdown seasons while he was in Cleveland.
Yeah,
So that was
man,
amazing, man.
he was productive, man. He was very very productive. Last one for Babyface Heel. No, I think we did Sherman. We already did Richard Sherman. So
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we did. I just reminded myself. I thought we didn't, but we did. So I just wanted to make sure on that. Um. Oh yes, NFL. Lawrence Taylor.
Tweener. In the great words of Snoop Dogg, you done done too much. You done done way too damn much. And yeah, I'm being kind when I say tweener. You from tweener, you a toenail away from being a heel. What you did on the football field was amazing, but
Do
the
you
shit that
remember
you
1998 when he was in the Waterboy movie?
don't smoke. So yeah, hey, look, there's a lot of great shit that Lawrence Taylor did, man. Lawrence Taylor, he was one of to be the biggest athlete in New York in the 80s. Think about the 80s in New York. You had Daryl Strawberry, you had
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, you had Dwight Gooden, you had Bernard King, and you had, I know I said Mike Tyson already. You're the biggest star in New York, and you're turning out the lights in New York City, and you're the highest paid player in the linebacker in the history of football, and you did that while a lot of other things were involved in your playing career. So yeah, I got to big you up for that because you changed the game. When you think about how much emphasis that we put on the left tackle position, it's because of Lawrence Taylor. When you think about how much emphasis that we put on blocking schemes, it's because of Lawrence Taylor. I remember him saying one thing that he said, because him rushing the passer was his idea. And I never, because it wasn't Bill Parcells' idea. I remember what he said. Bill Parcells said, "You rushed him again." He said, "We don't even have what you're doing in here." He said, "Well, hell, you better put it in because it's a doozy."
Plus, he made the left tackle position very important and prominent.
Yes, he made it. I mean, look, if you really look at that division, when you really look at that division, some of the best offensive linemen you ever want to see. When you think about Dallas, when you think about the Hogs from your Washington Commanders, when
Yeah.
you think about the Philadelphia Eagles or some of those great offensive linemen that they had up there during the 80s with Randall
Washington's
Cunningham.
fans still mad at him to this day what he did to Joe Theismann.
Yeah. Mm, that is. Uh, Ironically, look, I'm gonna just be real. Ironically, Lawrence Taylor hates that play.
He did,
He
yeah.
literally, he literally hates it. And he said when people bring it up, he literally cringes. And he actually, I think, one guy, he even cursed out real bad. Like, don't ever show me that play again. That's not who I am. And if you look at his reaction on the play, he's really looking like, "Oh my God, what have I done?" And it's just like it was crazy. Part of one of the best probably one of the best linebacking cores that you ever want to see. You have him, and you can almost stop there. Then you had Harry Carson, Hall of Famer. Then you had Carl Banks, All Pro Bowler, and then you had Gary Regents, who was a very very solid linebacker. And then with Gary Regents, when he retired, you had Peppers Johnson. So one of the best linebacker cores, arguably in the history of the league. And then you had Leonard Marshall up front as well. So hey, and I said it before, I'll say it again. If it had not been for the owner, that being Bob Tisch and Willington Merrill, if it had not been for them wanting an offensive line during the USFL, the first USFL expansion draft, they'd have had Reggie White there as well. But if you could imagine Lawrence Taylor and Reggie White on the same team and Leonard Marshall, yeah, that would have been disastrous for a lot of teams. So if it had not been for that team had a chance to be even more dominant than they were on defense. But unfortunately for them, their owner wanted an offensive lineman who never played for the team, by the way, who went to Minnesota. What
Let's
he
do
did,
one.
and let's not forget WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11. WrestleMania 11 was good, and the things that he did in WCW was very, very entertaining. But some of that off the field shit that he was doing.
Let's
I'm
go.
not laughing because it's not funny. I never forget one interview. He was like so lit up. I never know
Do you
that.
remember the 60-minute interview he did with Mike Wallace, rest his soul?
Yeah, very very seldom do I lie unless I have to. But that's Lawrence
But
Taylor. He said very very seldom do I lie unless I have to.
I
So
say Tweener. I say Tweener. One of my favorite movies, football movies. I love watching any given Sunday.
yeah,
And remember the locker room incident? I think with him and Jamie Foxx.
yeah, yeah. I never forget that. And I never forget. I don't know if you watch Club Shay Shay. Lawrence Taylor
I
was a
do.
rip was a ribber. He was very much a ribber. I'll never forget Christian McCaffrey's dad, Ed
Ed
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey.
I never forget Ed McCaffrey. He said one of Lawrence Taylor's shoes was missing, and you know, I'm sitting right next to him in the locker room. I'm looking around. I've got my cleats on and stuff like that. So he said, everybody's looking around. And he asked, he said, "Hey, Carl, you see my cleat?" He said, "I ain't seen that. I think this guy took it." He said, "The first day the air, he said, damn, I'm ready to get ready to get my ass whooped the first day of practice." And then Lawrence Taylor hit him upside there. "Nah, I'm just playing with you, man." They found his other feet and walked outside. That was one of the funniest stories I've ever heard from Ed McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's dad. And, you know, surprisingly, I never forget on Club Shay Shay, they said that Ed McCaffrey was faster than his son. I don't know how true that is because probably because I saw his son recently. I saw
Right.
Ed McCaffrey play, but I think Christian was a little bit faster. But they say his dad was faster. But hey,
Yeah, they said that on Club Shay Shay. I think Shannon Sharp had the whole most of the players from the Denver Broncos. They had Ed McCaffrey, they had Terrell Davis, they even had Bill Romanowski there. So it was actually kind of cool though. But Lawrence Taylor is a tweener, but the Waterboy movie, the incident.
don't smoke.
One last person for babyface here. I think he's a babyface to me. Kurt Angle.
Uh, Kurt Angle, he's a baby face. I mean,
Some people would say tweener because of
there's
the
be
perk
it,
angle, the
yeah,
but at the same
when
time he was able to turn it around his life and he hey 96 when he won the gold medal, mind you, on a broken dick.
yeah, I shattered my ankle before, so I could not imagine that. I hobbled around for at least like 3, 4 months. So yeah, I couldn't imagine doing that on a broken neck. But the thing is, people don't understand why he was taking that medicine. He had a broken neck and it was deteriorating. And you got to freeze. If we, I'm gonna be very, very careful about saying this because addiction is addiction. But just being honest, when you're in a position, what he did in order to feed his family is no different than what a factory worker may do to feed his family. Look, I got to go to work. If I don't go to work, I don't get paid. People are depending on me all around. I got to take this medicine in order for me to go to work. What he did is no different than what factory workers do every day. You're taking Demerol, Tramadol, anything else in order to take away that pain so you can be able to go to work for those 12-hour, 8-hour shifts so you can put bread on the table. So people could call it perk angle and people could call it, opioid crisis, but what Kurt Angle did in order to feed his family is no different than what any other factory worker probably has done in his life, his, her, or their lifetime in order to help put bread on that table. When you got a family to feed, man, when you have a family to feed, my father taught me a lot, man. When you got a family to feed, you will go to any lengths possible in order to put bread on the table. One thing that I want to tell the story of one day, if I ever get a chance, story of my father and how he was when he was in effect. I remember one year he broke his back. My father broke his back, one year. And I never forget, it was like we thought it was going to be gone for like a year. Remember, this is back in the 90s. I grew up back in the 90s. My father broke his back in the 90s, and he was back at work in 4 months. I was I was waking up for football practice one day, and usually I help him get up. I used to help him get up and walk around the house a little bit, kind of stretch him out a little bit. So I woke up one morning and getting ready to put my gear on because I was about to walk to football practice, which is like 3 miles away from the house. I said, I'm gonna walk to football practice and then I'm gonna come back and get ready for 2 days. So I'm walking, looking, and he's up putting on his gear. I said, "Hey, what are you doing up?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll go back to work today." I said, "It's only been." So you're supposed to be out for at least about 7 to 8 months. It's only been a month for you. I got to go back to work. So I mean, and you do what you have to do in order to do certain things of that nature. So you have to do that. For my father, it was putting on that damn brace that weighed about 10 pounds every single day in order to do that. Remember, Larry Bird, his dad used to put on a boot every single day in order for him to go to work, to go to construction before he unfortunately passed away. So what Kurt Angle did is no different than what men and women and non-binary people have done for years. When they go to the factory work, when they go to these blue collar jobs, hey, you got to take some medicine in order to get through what you're going through at a certain point, so you can put that bread on the table. I got to put that bread on the table. Fortunately, it has lingering effects, but you do what you got to do. So it wasn't just him just taking the shit just to take it. He had to put bread on that table. Which, hey,
It's
if I got a
understandable given the
yeah, if
circumstances
I
that
got
he
look,
was.
you pay me $1 million and my leg broke or my neck broke and shit like that, and this gonna take away the pain for the next 11 hours, so I can go out there and perform. Then hell, pop, pop. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what that is. I
I'm just
mean,
laughing when you said pop pop like that, but
I'm just being real.
no,
People gonna
you
say he
being
popping them pills.
no,
Pop,
I'm
pop.
I say babyface. Kurt Angle was a hell of a performer. I think he was very underrated as far as with Mike skills. I love the rivalry with him and Russ's Soul, the late great Eddie Guerrero. They had a
Yeah,
really brother relationship
yeah.
in the ring, outside the ring. The work that he did in TNA, although it
Magnificent.
was although it was kind of weird though with the situation with him and the wife part because
You got to watch Dark Side of the Ring. You got to watch Dark Side of the Ring
I
because
did. I did.
oh man, it was not funny, but it cleared up a lot for me because I'm like, oh, okay, that's what really happened. I'm sitting around here, me as a naive little idiot, thinking that, damn, okay, y'all have just put everything just on blast, but come to find out, there wasn't really that at all. But big shout out to Kurt Angle and his family, and big shout out to Jeff Jarrett as well, because I did not realize the impact that he had on the industry at a certain point until that Dark Side of the Ring came out. I knew he was the one of the owners of TNA. I didn't realize he was the owner, and so
Well, I didn't either, champ. But when considering his family's history, his grandmother, his father, I think his either his father or stepfather, I mean, it's no surprise. And besides, he wanted to move on from WCW because after WCW, Vince McMahon bought the company in 2001. He needed to come up with something else. But Vince Russo and Jim Cornette together in the same company. Ugh.
surprisingly, I'm gonna just be real. Surprisingly, it was good. Surprisingly, I mean, I know he gets a lot of hate, but TNA was pretty good at a certain point. Once you start getting a lot of interference, and I think that's what's happening with WWE right about now. Once you get that corporate influence in there, you no longer have wrestling guys in there that knows how to run a wrestling show. It gets diluted, and I think that's what's happening to a certain extent to WWE because this corporate when corporations get a hold of something, they're thinking about corporate. They're not thinking about things staying true to what they are. And that's what happened. And I believe that's what happened to a lot of wrestling companies. I mean, from the territories to once you get corporate involved, it's going to change because these corporate guys are worried about corporate sponsors rather than true wrestling fans. To them, it's a TV show rather than a wrestling show.
But that was the knock on Vince Russo. He just only looked at it from a TV and entertainment standpoint alone. And his whole thing was, yeah, I mean, it's TV and entertainment, and all I care about the ratings. But at the same time, yeah, you got your attention, but for all the wrong reasons. And I don't want to lose touch of wrestling. I don't want to alienate my great wrestling fans. I don't want them to feel like they spent this amount of money and wasted their time on this garbage product. That's not what I want. I want to be great. And how does it look for the wrestling fans with a sour taste in their mouth? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but big fella, favorite Regina Hall moment,
I'll let you go first on that one. I want to see what
the
you got
best
to say.
man,
Okay.
the stripper dance.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. But Regina Hall, I actually like Regina Hall. I mean, scary movies from ones, two, three. Um, I love that one, Paid in Full.
Yeah.
Did like that. I always liked her, very attractive. Also loved Girls Trip, her, Queen Latifah, Tiffany Haddish, and Jada Pinkett Smith. Regina Hall, definitely one of my favorite actresses. Like I said, man, 90s and in the thousands, you're talking about black woman excellence during that time because you had Sanaa Lathan, you had Nia Long, Halle Berry, Tisha Campbell, Tashina Arnold, Vivica A. Fox, Vanessa Williams, Rosario Dawson. Excellence. And Death at a Funeral, I did like that one. The Best Man Holiday, I definitely love that from her. Malibu's Most Wanted. The one when Kennedy's character is
Yeah.
daydreaming and then she's about to expose her top. S- So
That's funny.
those are my favorite moments from Regina Hall. What's yours?
Well, hell, think like a man too. That was good. Law abiding citizen. That was good. The hate you give.
Yes.
The hate you give. That was one of those movies I only watched once because it was just so. It touches you. It touches you. So if you haven't seen that movie, go look at it. Uh, Best Man Holiday was my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies. I still got the DVD to this day. So I love Best Man Holiday, man. Hey, the little. Remember when she transformed? Yeah, she transferred this from this major businesswoman to
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was uh, I think that thing scary movie. That part where the girl is running and just let her mutilate her ass and just let her leave. And then she finally saw what was at the what you better tell me you running from this. Shut your ass up. Took that damn skull off and whatever the hell. That was good. Regina Hall, great man. So that's amazing, man. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. Ain't that like pure imported chocolate, man.
And I believe she's from DC. So
Yeah, she did. Hey man, they
Chocolate City.
chocolate city, man. Chocolate City. So hey, a lot of great ones come out of DC. But Martin Lawrence, Pat Doctor, a lot of those great comedians and great actors and actresses came out of DC. So
Absolutely. Last but not least, big fella, favorite Young Thug track.
uh did a
Stoner.
lot of shit just to live this here
His life.
lifestyle. Oh, I love Danny Glover, bro. I love Danny Glover.
Pull up on a kid.
Yeah, I love Danny Glover. Every time I gotta hit me, I'm not gonna lie. I used to get lit up at the club, and when they used to turn that shit on, I used to get wild as
I
hell.
love Stoner. Stoner.
Yeah, I'm a stutter, I'm a
I'm a
stutter,
stoner.
I'm a stutter, I'm a stutter, I'm a
I'm a
stutter.
stoner.
Uh, man, I never forget that track that he did on the Creed two cut.
Yes.
Yeah, the Creed 2, yeah. That one was real good. I love that one. That one was amazing, and I love that one. Young Thug did a lot of things. I never forget. There's a lot of memorable things he did. I'll never forget with him and the game was kind of fake beefing at a certain point. They was right here posting Instagram memes of each other. That was the funny shit. that was the,
I'm
that
not
was,
just laughing at that, but I'm just laughing at the game when he was on that versus him drinking that big ass bottle of Don Julio.
and bro, down the whole damn bottle. I'm like, bro, what the hell you got going on, bro? I mean, it took that bottle and killed the damn thing. I'm like,
Now
bro,
I see why you avoid alcohol.
yeah. How come I don't drink no more? I've been sober for a good while. But when I used to get lit, I used to get wild. So I mean, never on no crazy shit. But I was the type. I'm gonna have a good time. I was gonna have a good time. We get that. You get that Don Julio, that tequila up in you. That is it's amazing. They call it liquid courage for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, Never forget the song him did with Ty Dolla $ign. Pass me the hookah. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, they had the girls going, they had the ladies going crazy when they said that.
Especially when they were on smoking that hookah.
Yeah, hookah. I can't smoke hookah or none of that shit because that shit burned my lungs. So I'm just being real. Maybe I had held it long, or I can't smoke that shit. That shit burned my lungs. I did that shit one time trying to look cool.
How about
Uh,
T.I.'s about the money?
yeah, if it ain't about them, no.
Money.
The best part of that song is at the beginning.
Yes.
I count 6 shots because because around
J-
that time Django was popping, and then
Django.
they put Steven in there. I count six
Six
shots.
shots.
Uh, I don't know if that was his song or not. Let me check and see.
It
But
was T.I.'s song, and Young Thug was featured in it.
hold on for 1 second. I'm trying to see if one other song was his. No, that was Rich Gang. But no, that was Rich Gang. I thought no Milk Marie. So that wasn't his song. but I like that song too, man. So unfortunate what happened with Slim Thug, man. I hope that's a cautionary tale for a lot of people to kind of like chill out on the activities that you're doing out here, man. Because guess what? Yeah, it eventually will catch up with you. So make sure that you're doing everything the right way. So do things the right way. But Young Thug, when he was doing his thing, it was crazy, man. So it was crazy, man. I love dancing to Young Thug, man, and partying to Young Thug's music, man. Did he did his thing, man. Remember he did rich shit. Old. You remember he was on Old Town Road with Lil Nas X. He did a little bit of everything, man. So big shout out to Young Thug, man.
Absolutely, man. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm just reading this ridiculous article. There's a video that's claiming that Texas Popeyes put a condom on a customer's chicken.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. When you go to restaurants, I don't care. I don't give a shit how rude somebody is. Do not be rude back. Because I'm gonna tell you this: don't be messing around and getting people pissed off when they're dealing with your food. Because that's the type of shit that happens. Because man, look, I cannot tell you how many times people have been rude when I was going to somewhere or going somewhere and eat, and I'm still just as polite. And I tell the people that I'm with, look, be polite. There, don't because first, hey man, I'm just gonna be real. If I'm out to eat with you and you rude to somebody, you rude to the waiter, you rude to the cook, I leave you right there. You ain't finna get my food spit in. I'm just being real. So, hey man, you ain't finna get my food spit in. So, hey man, when you go to these places, man, I understand. You know, people want to look down upon food workers and the waiters, but remember they dealing with your food, something you putting in your body. So be polite. No matter how rude they is, be polite. Yes, sir. No, sir. Be very, very polite. And chill out. They dealing with your food. You put that shit in your body. Don't be don't,
I've never heard any story like that regarding
hey
a
man,
condom.
look, bro, I'ma just be real, bro. I used to work in restaurants, man, when before I joined the military, man. And guess what? You see people coming in crashing out all damn day. But I've never seen anything like that. But you hear a lot of the horror stories of what people used to do to folks' food and shit. So yeah, I mean, you need to slow your roll with folks, man, because everybody ain't playing with you. They do something to your shit, have your ass barking. You know, like the great words Bernie Mac, fuck around, be barking all night. So be careful.
Well, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Sorry, fellas, that we had to end the show pretty early. But we wish we would have had BRF on the show. BRF may not be here next week, but don't worry, we'll hold it down for him. And again, it's been relatively quiet because again, it is the summer. But big fella, any final comments before we wrap up the show?
Uh, please support the W still. I know we're going into football season. I know this. Continue to support the W because um, next time the collective bargaining agreement comes out, we want to see these women get $10 million. I love to see. I love to see one of these great women athletes get 10 million. Not
Well, let's hope if Angel Reese and Paige Beckers don't do dumb shit like they did on social media.
yeah. Don't stop posting every damn thing you're doing on the internet, people. Don't do that no more. So I like I said, I'm a big Angel Reese fan, but y'all gotta be careful. And look, I blame that on the WNBA as well because why the hell would you post that anyway, not realizing that it violates league rules? That was dumb as hell. So, but yeah, gotta be mindful of what you posting on the internet. Don't be making no side bitch. Everybody ain't Michael Jordan. Everybody ain't gonna be able to get away with that. Michael Jordan was one of a kind. He could get away with shit like that. We can't. So, but big ups to Paige Beckers and Angel because they're big parts of what their teams are doing right about now. They're big parts of their team and why their team is in championship contention right about now.
Fellas, continue supporting WNBA. Not just also football season is approaching, not just NFL, but also college football.
Yeah,
So, like you always say, big fella, give these WNBA players more exposure. How about giving some HBCU players some more exposure as well,
yeah,
especially with HBCU football? So, let's do that. Please, everyone, like I always say at the end of every show, if you're gonna drink, please drink responsibly. Have a good time. Be around family and loved ones. Enjoy some barbecues. Hopefully, the big fella will probably be back at another barbecue spot. What, you ain't going to another barbecue?
no, I don't. No, I'm on. I'm doing my thing now. I just keep it. I'll leave it at that. But you
Oh,
know,
okay. His Andrew Tate outfit thing. Okay.
no. But I am I'm doing a lot better with some habits that I have. So I'm not at the barbecue joint anymore. I'm not doing a lot of
Big fella,
drinking anymore.
barbecue
None
ain't
of that
just for
stuff.
food, man. Barbecue's also a good time just to reminisce on the good old
Yeah,
times, be with
but you
family and
know the temptation
friends.
is always there with the cheesecake and the potato salad and the beans and the stuff like that. So you kind of the best way to not give it to temptation is not take yourself around it. So
They also you can also have substitutions, salads, some grilled chicken, something like that.
yeah, you can, but I mean, what's the fun in that? Just stay away from around it so you don't get tempted. Just being real. So
um,
hey,
but
support the
still,
WNBA.
yes, but also HBCU football too.
Yes,
But
indeed.
definitely everyone, please enjoy the rest of your summer. Again, shout out to Mama PSP, shout out to everyone, and of course the beautiful and amazing D. Love that beautiful woman. We're gonna continue with the Sports PSP podcast. Already over 143,000 subscribers. Please go like and subscribe to the Sports PSP podcast. Check us out every Friday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube. And we is out. Peace.